CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Lauren Pastrana. Welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Right off the top, we're learning more about the victims of Wednesday's deadly school shooting in Georgia. Law enforcement officials say a 14-year-old student at Apalachee High School opened fire, killing 2 students and 2 teachers before being taken into custody. 9 others were wounded. CBS News Miami's Mark Strassman has the latest from Winder, Georgia.
Flowers lay outside Apalachee High School this morning in tribute to the victims of Wednesday's deadly shooting. Investigators say a 14-year-old student opened fire around 10:20 a.m., killing 4 people and injuring 9 others.
I got up, I started running. He started shooting like 10 times. He shot at least 10 times.
The sheriff described how 2 school resource officers quickly confronted the shooter armed with an AR platform-style weapon inside the school. They took him into custody.
As soon as they made contact with him, he gave up immediately.
The FBI now says that local deputies questioned the suspect and his father last year. The reason at the time, online threats to carry out a school shooting by the suspect, who was 13 years old at the time. But the father told deputies that his son had no access to guns in the house. The suspect denied making those threats at the time, and so there were no arrests until yesterday.
Investigators identified the 4 people killed as 14-year-old students Christian Angolo and Mason Schermerhorn, and teachers Richard Aspinwall and Christina Irami.
You could get a question wrong on the board, and she's not going to make you feel dumb. She really make you, she'll make you feel welcome.
Isaac Sanguma told CBS News he spoke to Irami, his math teacher, the morning of the shooting.
She was begging me to come to class on time today, and I didn't know that was going to be my last time seeing her and talking to her.
The shooting suspect has been charged with murder, and prosecutors say he will be tried as an adult. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Winder, Georgia.
Meanwhile, here at home, the Parkland killer may be serving his life sentence at an undisclosed Florida prison, but he is back in the spotlight. His name and his money are at the center of a heated court case. As CBS News Miami's Joan Murray reports from the Broward County Courthouse, neither side is backing down.
6 years after the Parkland school massacre, there is a legal battle underway here at the Broward County Courthouse. It involves former student Anthony Borges. Now, he was one of the people wounded, critically injured in that school shooting. Well, recently, Borges and his attorney reached an agreement with the shooter, saying that Borges is entitled to the likeness and use of the shooter's name, and also that he is entitled to under $400,000 life insurance policy. Well, some of the other victims' family members are not happy with that agreement, and they think that they should have shared in that agreement. So they are in court right now trying to settle their differences. Take a listen to what each of the attorneys had to say after that court hearing.
Anthony's lucky that he wasn't the 18th death case. He has PTSD, he has all these issues. You don't see any of them worried about how they're doing, what they're doing to Anthony now, because don't think for 1 minute that this is as an effect as PTSD.
How dare they take for themselves the singular authority to decide whether and when to publish what about this tragedy, as if it's theirs and theirs alone?
This matter is far from settled. Now, coming up beginning at 5 on CBS Miami, you'll hear from the father of one of the victims in the Parkland massacre, how he feels about this argument over money in court. In Fort Lauderdale, Joan Murray, CBS News, Miami.
Always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
Taking a live look outside right now. It's a mainly dry day, but boy, is it hot out there. We do see some clouds. Next weather meteorologist Cindy Pressler says get used to all this heat, right, Cindy?
Yeah, we're going to go another day or two before we get a little bit of a break this weekend. But right now it's 89 degrees. But that's not all of it. It feels like 102. An hour ago, it felt like 104 degrees in Miami. We've got that east-southeasterly flow trying to pull in a little bit of moisture, but we've got Saharan dust sitting over South Florida right now. It's a very shallow layer, but it's enough to kind of squelch any showers and storms, 1 or 2 trying to get in here, and that's about it. So we have a heat advisory in effect today. We could see it again tomorrow. As a matter of fact, it's probably likely. Low rain chances, though, because of this dry, dusty air, so that's going to be the case for the while. And watching now, 5 tropical waves out in the Atlantic. I'll show you those coming up in just a bit. Here's your heat advisory for Miami-Dade and Broward. This is going to last until 6 o'clock this evening. For the Keys, it'll go until 7 o'clock this evening. Those triple digits, that's going to stick with us. Well, maybe you'll get a shower, but more than likely you will not, because we just don't have a lot going on out here. A couple of showers came in right here around Surfside, Miami Shores, but look how quickly they dissipated, and that's about it. You might find a sprinkle here and there, and that's really about it. Not nearly as busy it was at this time yesterday. And here's your Saharan dust. So it's sitting right along the coast over Miami, Fort Lauderdale. It's a very shallow layer, but like I said, it's enough. And now this is going to thin out as we head into Friday and into the weekend. So our rain chances are actually going to start climbing just a bit. Not a lot, but just a bit. Tomorrow, again, a dry day. Saturday and Sunday, basically dry conditions, maybe an isolated storm, and then Monday, Tuesday, and then by Wednesday and Thursday we go back to more normalcy for this time of the year. So that deep tropical moisture is in place at the low levels, but we're getting that drier air aloft, so that's helping to squelch them. Out to the tropics, it looks so busy, doesn't it? But none of these is a threat. All of these have low chances. Down here in the Gulf, maybe get one out here, 10% chance of this one that's sitting up to the north. But that's the one that's just to the south of Texas and Louisiana with a stalled frontal system. That's going to focus a lot of rain along that front and take it all the way up to the Florida Panhandle in North Florida as we move through the weekend and next week. So that's where you're going to see a lot of rain. Not so much here, so our rain chances stay quite low. Temperatures, though, lower 90s, but it'll feel like it's in the triple digits. Next week, temperatures go a little bit lower with better rain chances, so look for that next week.
Cindy, thank you. An accused kidnapper and rapist is facing an additional charge this afternoon. CBS News Miami's Ted Scouten explains.
We are speaking to the family of a man who is accused of kidnapping and sexually assaulting a teenage girl and attempting to kidnap 2 others. Rondell McDonald is facing 12 charges in connection with 3 different cases. In each case, police say he drove up on the teenage girls, pointed a gun and ordered them into his car. 2 of them ran, 1 got in. Police say that one was sexually assaulted. McDonald's family told me they're shocked that this is not how he behaves.
He's a very good person, loving. He's taking care of his younger brothers, you know, when they need help. So I don't understand why he would do something like that. Something must have went wrong.
We're also hearing from a safety expert about what you should do if someone tries to get you into a car. That's coming up beginning at 5. In Fort Lauderdale, Ted Scouten, CBS News Miami.
Police out in force overnight in the city of Miami. Police say SWAT executed multiple warrants earlier today targeting what they call extremely violent offenders. This was the scene in the area of Northeast 75th Street and 3rd Avenue. From Chopper 4, you can see several people in cuffs seated along the sidewalk. Police say the majority of the wanted suspects were taken into custody. So far, no word on what charges they are facing. Flames tear through a Coconut Creek horse barn at a rescue ranch, killing 1 horse and critically injuring another. CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner is there with what we know so far.
The ranch owners told me that they were in the process of trying to tear down that wood barn back there where you can clearly see the fire broke out. They actually have sand laid down for the foundation of a new metal barn. But before they could make the switch, tragedy struck.
This is Monty, an Australian Shepherd rescue.
Our caregiver said that he was making a dramatically different bark.
It's his bark at 5 Thursday morning that alerted everyone on the property something was very wrong.
We got notified that a fire had started and that there had been a lot of lightning activity.
The fire, captured on a neighbor's cell phone video, took the life of Aaliyah, seen in this video.
And she was a sweet mare, 10 years old, a little brown and white, painted horse. So she'll be really missed. You know, we're sad.
Michelle Patton said she'd quickly moved their milk cow away from the fire and rushed the other horse in the stable, Oaks, to a vet in Wellington.
He's in critical condition.
The horses, like family.
The physical stuff we can replace. We can get a new barn. We can easily replace that. But when you have kids that are around those their horses, explaining that to them, that's tough.
Tough for his kids and others in the community. They homeschool on this ranch the family recently purchased in February.
We decided to homeschool our children, and in order to do that, we wanted to also have an opportunity for them to be socially involved with other kids.
A ranch the community values.
She's using these horses as lesson horses. I mean, she's a wonderful person. I mean, what she has done to that barn, miraculous.
Michelle Patronos takes care of her own horse just a few properties down and said she is horrified.
They're locked in a stall. They've got no means of escape. And I couldn't imagine what they went through.
The official cause of the fire is still under investigation. Now, this family, they say they do not need financial support, that if you're interested in donating, there are so many other rescues that do need the help. But they added, if you like what they are doing here, they just want you to stop by and say hi as they work to rebuild. In Coconut Creek, Morgan Reiner, CBS News, Miami.
When we come back, a medical mistake you have to see to believe. A family is demanding answers after a man has the wrong organ removed during surgery. How they found out when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Now to a developing story in Hunter Biden's federal tax case. His defense lawyer says he intends to change his not guilty plea to guilty. This is just before jury selection was set to begin in Biden's second trial this year. The conditions of his plea deal have not been released. Hunter Biden was indicted in December on 3 felony and 6 misdemeanor counts alleging that he failed to pay his taxes during a period when he has said he was in the throes of drug addiction. And now to a story that's just hard to imagine. An Alabama family is planning to sue after their loved one went to a Florida hospital for a spleen removal and had his liver taken out. Beverly Bryan and her husband Bill were on vacation in Destin when he started feeling pain on his left side. After running tests, Beverly says doctors identified a cyst that had ruptured and bled around Bill's spleen. According to a medical report, Bill lost a lot of blood and suffered a heart attack during the surgery. The report also showed the organ labeled spleen was something else.
Dr. Shaknovsky was intending to take the spleen out. When the spleen was sent to pathology at the hospital, the pathologist at the hospital, after the procedure was over, said this is not a spleen, this is a liver.
They took him from us while he was completely helpless on the operating room table. They removed his liver instead of his spleen. So, of course, he bled to death on the operating room table. Everyone knows you can't live without your liver. It's about the same thing as if they had pulled out his heart.
Bryan says she wants to see the right people held accountable. There's so much more we are working on for you. Here's a look at what's coming up all new on CBS News Miami at 5. A new Amazon facility opens its doors and brings hundreds of new jobs to South Florida. We take a special tour inside at 5 o'clock. And that's it for CBS News Miami's Quickcast. I'm Lauren Pastrana. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS Miami.